कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Super interesting guest about to come on the podcast. Before we do that, share a little information. Listening to all the talk by Ukraine and Zelensky about getting a security guarantor and India being invited on one of those Nobel laureate shows that we see at 9 o'clock on the English channels and Hindi channels. I don't understand how anyone can become a security guarantor, because everybody says they've got more stockpiles, more nuclear weapons, more weapons of mass destruction than anybody else. And who's going to control this gentleman called Putin? All right. By the way, Putin looks a lot like the English captain Nasir Hussain. People have sent me this picture. I'll share it with you at some point. And I want to just mention that Nasir is a man of peace, a lovely guy. He's never even hurt a fly. He's never even asked a bowler to pitch it up, hit the toes of a batsman. He's that good a guy. But again, security guarantor, it's a paradox in terms. I don't think it can happen. It's pointless, because who's going to actually poke that bear or control that bear? Now we'll leave that aside. Actually, not, because where we're going now with this wonderful man called Aditya Raj Kapoor is a trip across the world on his bike. And there is much more to him than that, of course. But I think the bike symbolizes him. So let's introduce him first. Aditya, if you can just magically appear.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, we've got lots of biking personalities or biking personnel legends that have come on the show. And you're now going to set another bar, raise the bar higher, it looks like. We'll start with the book first. It's called Quest.
Quest.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not a question. I'm just stating it out there. I'll just set it up a little bit. It's a soul travel book, which you'll have to explain to us, of course, these big words and phrasing. It's a journey on a motorcycle around the world, a solo trip done by Aditya Raj Kapoor at the age of 61. Okay, so socially not relevant for people like me who can't find company, whether they have a bike or not. It starts from Mumbai to Vladivostok. That's Vladivostok, not Vladivostok, and weaves through Russia on the Trans-Siberian Highway to head to Moscow, which of course is a country that's right now in the throes of controversy, and we must talk about it. He then goes to Latvia, Lithuania, then to Poland, which is where Russia may invade. They follow the same trail. Austria, and then of course Germany, through Switzerland, Italy, Calais, France, and then England. Then he flies to New Jersey and then continues. So I'll let him talk now. I won't keep telling you about it. But what if, first and foremost, what is a soul travel book? Where was the idea to do this? I mean, this will take a ridiculously long time to crisscross the world, right?
Yeah, I was out of my house for 10 months.
Ow.
I was out of Mumbai for 10 months. I started from tThey Theatre in Mumbai. You're very familiar with the theatre. You performed
Of course, yes.
there. I started from there and I came back 10 months ago at the same place and ended my journey there. And the idea of this trip, Cyrus, came about because one day I retired from active business, from being a management guy. I just said, that's it. I got to stop sending debit notes and credit notes and run after people and stuff like that. And my son is a biker, basically. So he said that, Dad, why don't you get on a bike? And it's something that everybody wants to do sometime in his life. I was about 56 at that time. And I'd thought about shifting to Goa. So I bought a Royal Enfield. Of all the bikes, I bought a Royal Enfield. And of course, there's a story, and I must share with you because you're a Parsi. Tame bawa
Yeah.
cho, no?
Ah, Taddan.
So, when I was young, I mean, I'm 65 now, but when I was young, the people who rode bikes were very respectable people. You either had a Parsi, or you had a Christian, or you had a municipal corporator or a policeman. And these
This
people,
narrative is not familiar to the present generation, but please go on.
they
Yes.
don't know. But the
Yeah.
sound of that bike meant that somebody very honest was coming next to you. Even if you had a police inspector coming next to you on a Royal Enfield, you could go up to him and say hello. I grew up with that sound and that feeling of security on the roads. So when my turn came to buy a bike, I said, I have to start with Royal Enfield. And I pressurized those guys to give me my bike in 21 days. And it was a 10-month waiting.
But where's the Parsi connection? Just the fact that they used to have the bikes, or somebody sold
Yeah,
it
I
to
mean,
you?
some of my best friends were Parsis, and they would have a motorcycle in my building where I would stay. And I grew up with that whole feeling. And you're a Parsi, right?
Yes, but no bike. But my uncle
No.
had. Uncle
Oh,
had the
yeah.
bikes. Nothing
Somebody
now.
will always have.
Now just a memory. That's why we live off vicariously through you and your stories. So no, but it's a good point you mentioned, because all in the old days, at least up to the 80s, I would think that lots of Parsi bags had these bikes, and bike crazy obsessive Parsi men who honestly looked after the bike more than their mothers, fathers, wives, kids. And it was not like a joke, it was a reality. It was always, I mean, every minute, spare minute was spent just cleaning it, looking after it, checking every small wire. That is interesting. Are you like that? Because to spend 10 months on a bike.
I'm not like that. I'll be very honest with you. I'm not like that. And I actually don't even know too much of technology about a bike. So I joined a bike club in Mumbai called Bison's Ride Hard. There's a Royal Enfield biking club, and they taught me how to motorcycle respectably like a human being, which means on the left side of the road and keep the system going. They realized that I don't know anything about technology. They realized that. So they said, Aditya, you got to hang on to one thing in the motorcycle. You should know that. So what happened is, on the first 3 days, my fuse started going of the bike. It kept blowing. Sometimes in a new bike, the fuse keeps blowing for some reason or the other. So I realized, you know what I did, Cyrus? I went and bought 20 fuses, small for do rupees ka aata hai, from Grant Road. So I bought them and I put them together. And every time the fuse would blow, I'd put it back. So the guy said, this is one thing this guy knows completely. So let's call him FuseBox. So my call sign became FuseBox. And because I was the eldest guy, they called me Lord FuseBox. So actually, if you go anywhere on my route and ask them, have you met this Indian Aditya Raj Kapoor? They'll say, we don't know who he is. And if you say, you've met Lord FuseBox, they'll say, yes, we know the guy. So
Oh
this is
man, we have to restart the whole interview now. Yeah, used all the wrong nomenclature. You are Lord FuseBox. All bow, please. But that's an interesting point you've raised, huh? That just like a spouse or a fuse, a bike is just just one little thing that takes it off or makes it work again. But I can't believe you're completely technologically challenged, because you've gone basically you're alone, right? When you say solo, are there people
solo
following
ride.
you?
No, 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 no. So there was a
So
guy, there was another Indian who was in Moscow by the time I was somewhere halfway in
there are
Russia.
Indians everywhere, yeah. It's
Yeah.
horrible, huh?
So he was a biker. He was a biker. So he says, Aditya, I'm in Moscow. I'll wait for 5 days for you or 10 days for you, whatever. We can go together. So I knew that I will not make up. Why will I not make up? Because I don't want to make up. I don't want to hurry. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not going anywhere, Cyrus.
Right.
Things are happening on its own. So I didn't want to make up. But he asked me that. Then after 4 5 days, I called him up again. So he said, Aditya, how far are you? I said 3 4 days. And what about your team? I said, what team? I mean, where's your luggage? Who's carrying your luggage? I said, I'm carrying my luggage. Who else can carry my luggage here? So the concept of going solo hit that guy very hard. And the point is that I had my luggage on me, I had my soul in me, my luggage on me, and what was not on me was not on the ride.
But once again, let's understand the practical point here. So you've left Prithvi Theatre, sounds all very
Mhm.
romantic, with what, one bag on your back?
Okay, I'll tell you the system, the practical part. You're absolutely right. I flew from Mumbai to Vladivostok.
Right.
Mumbai, Delhi, Delhi, Vladivostok. And my motorcycle was in the same plane that I was flying.
So that's fair enough. It's authentic then, because you took the bike to Vladivostok. That's the
Yeah,
sentence you have to use. You
yeah,
took the
absolutely.
bike to Vladivostok. Fair enough. Huh.
From Mumbai to Delhi on a wide-bodied aircraft. So I'm this information for people. You cannot take a motorcycle on a narrow-bodied aircraft. You got to go into a big aeroplane, and obviously it got to land in a bigger place, And I took it
It's
to
a
Vladivostok, and I put my wheel on the ground in Vladivostok. I chilled out there for 4 days to get my jet lag out and things like that. My luggage, I'm very embarrassed to tell you this. My luggage was 75 kilos at Juhu Airport.
oh my god.
Because I packed like a crazy guy. I packed two of everything and then two of those things. So I had four of everything. It was very stupid. I was nervous.
Were you doing the Indian thing of selling clothes along the way or something like that? To make
I
ends
gave
meet.
all I gave all my clothes away to my biker friends in the first part of my journey. I mean, I realized that I didn't need so much.
But what about the paraphernalia like helmet and gloves and those slightly? They're also quite heavy and cumbersome.
Oh, besides my weight, which I won't tell you how much it was, I was carrying about 20-25 kilos of weight. My gear, my helmet, my gloves, my shoes are about 5 kilos. Because you have shoes which are, besides getting stuck in the bike wheel and all that, it's supposed to be snake bite proof.
But how will a snake bite you while you're on the bike?
Yes, but you get off the bike. Now, when
That's true. That's right.
he's
I should
waiting
have
for you.
thought it through. I
Yeah.
apologize. You'll get a better anchor next time. Yeah, that's right. You do have to walk with them as well. Okay, so let's get back. So you fly to Vladivostok. You come off it. Now, honestly,
Yeah.
tell me, there's no plan, right? Is there a plan like how we plan the European, even the backpacking trips is vaguely planned? You come off, and then what do? Are you just literally going forward?
No, 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 no. I didn't do exactly that. I've been, Cyrus, a management guy all my life. As a consultant, it was my job to put up your studio, to help you to get onto the show, and then leave you and go. That has been my job all the time. Like basically, I set up amusement parks, I set up stuff like that. So I decided to do this the proper way. It would be very embarrassing for me to get lost somewhere when I've been helping people find the way. I planned for 2 years, Cyrus. 2 years. Be saal lagi gaya. 2 years sitting in Goa, in the same place I'm sitting, there's a map in front of me, which is a 1975 map from Reader's Digest. You remember Reader's Digest, which will give you
Of
the big
course. Yeah,
atlases,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
waxy paper, and that waxy paper map has got the old boundaries of countries. So on that map, I plotted my entire trip for 2 years. And for that 1 year, the last 1 year, I did a live run on Google Maps of where am I going every day to for the village, the sound should come on your lips, like you don't get scared anymore of what's happening. So I studied it. Man, money, machine, your visas, your paperwork, your credit cards, everything. Yeah, it's hell of a thing.
So,
It's
so
not romantic.
you knew it by heart by the time you got off the plane, or it's in your.
So it was stored in three places. One is it was stored on
Oops.
a black diary.
Right.
This is my black diary. This had everything. My entire route is here. Everything is here. And this was in my pocket. It never left my pocket. And the second was a laptop. I carried what is that thing called? Surface, Microsoft Surface, that Surface kind of a tab kind of a thing. I carried that. Obviously, it was on my mobile automatically in the digital. And I remembered all of it because I'd done so much of bloody homework on the damn thing. I remembered most of it, like.
Wow. So let's go back to the beginning. You're off the plane. I know we have to get through a lot of things here. You're in Vladivostok, and now you're heading where? This is through Russia first.
Yeah, so I'm in Russia. I'm in Vladivostok. Vladivostok is the easternmost seaboard of small place called Usursk. Now, I'm not going to remember all the places, but I remember this one because it was only 100 kilometers away. You don't bike
Just say
100
them
kilometers.
if you say them fast, we won't be able to understand anyway, so it'll be fine. Yeah.
So, so I went to Usursk, and the biking club helped me out there. There were the bikers all across the country. So they heard about me from the consulate, and luckily this was the Indo-Soviet friendship year happening at that time. So I was an example of Indo-Soviet friendship, like it was very lucky, very fortunate, and they helped me. And I went to Usursk, that was the first place I went to, and I went a very short distance, only 100 kilometers. You're not supposed to do that. You should do at least 400 kilometers. And that is because I don't believe in doing what everybody says. Jaldi karo yaar, lamba jao yaar. I don't believe in all that. So I said, let me chill out the first day. And then I slowly went over the hump of Siberia. And then from there onward, from Chita onward, it's a flat road to Moscow. You can't see Moscow, but it's a flat road. It's a straight and flat road almost to Moscow. And it's beautiful, absolutely. It was 9,000 odd kilometers over 45
Wow.
days.
Wow. But what are the weather conditions? Will it be
So,
snowy and all in Siberia?
no, so no. Though it rained. I got lost in a thunderstorm. So this was at the end of summer. So, but it was still, see, your summer and my summer and their summer is something else altogether. When I got off at Vladivostok, I tell you, yaar, it was 6 degrees centigrade at the airport. And the Russian guy coming to meet me were all bare-chested and waiting with biker uniforms and all. So I said, my God, I'm going to die in this damn thing. Whose idea was it to do this in the first place? On the motorcycle, internet said 10 degrees centigrade in the morning, and it must have been 5. Because, with wind chill, when you're riding at 120 kilometers an hour with wind chill, the cold gets to you somewhere or the other. It was
Wow.
pathetic. It was pathetic. But in one way, but it was very exciting in the other way. The
Also, that
first
was
10 days,
day one. Yeah.
yeah. On the
Yeah.
first 10 days,
Huh.
on the first
Sorry.
10
Go on.
days, no. So on the first 10 days, I actually cried because I had to take my luggage up one floor into my room. because I was staying in a chota mota dhaba, hotel, motel kind of thing, Traditionally, you have these big bungalows which have been made into small motels. They're by the side of the road. That is what entire Europe and Asia is like. Only America, being a 300-year-old country, has built proper motels in a systematic way with ground floor only. If you're a traveled man, you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
So out here, I had to carry it circuit, but after riding for 500 kilometers, you stop on the side of the road, you take off all half of your gear to go to the reception, and if he says yes, then you go back, you unplug all your luggage, untie all your luggage, put it on your head, and carry it up to your room. Come back, park your bike, go back, and curse your future. Why the hell am I doing this? 10 days. I was miserable.
See,
Because I
this
was
is the problem. Aditya, this is the problem with the third world countries like Russia. They're not like us. Here, you just have to call Jairam to pick up something. Raju will pick up something else. Coffee will be made for you already. Why did you leave, Prithvi? The comforts of home. It doesn't make any sense. But I want to ask you just as an aside, any sense of the political uprisings that would happen today in Russia at that point? Or was it very calm country and
I'll be honest with you on that. This is my take. I went on a tour, on a bike tour, Cyrus, not to view architecture, not to view tourism. I went to meet people, human beings. And I stayed by the side of the road. I didn't go, let's say if I'm riding into Maharashtra, I wouldn't go to Mumbai. I wouldn't go to Nasik. I'd go to Jalgaon probably, or I'll go to some smaller Miraj or Sangli or something like that, to give you an example. So I stayed by the highway where the villages are, basically. I didn't go into the popular cities. I met so many people. No human being in the world, and not just in Russia, no human being in the world wants war. They don't know what their politics is, but they know what is grown in their country. And they know what they can feed me, and they know where the destination is. Oh, that is what life is. That is what human beings are, basically. When I was
and
in
they were
Russia, when I was in Russia, you will laugh at me. I went into a restaurant to eat. Now, I knew a little bit of Russian because the consulate told me you have to learn a little bit, otherwise we'll not let you go. So I knew the alphabet, and so that I could read something. Go left, turn right, and the policeman stops me, something or the other. But when I went to a restaurant, I'm not so fast at speaking, so I can't. Kidney beans is rajma for us. But neither kidney beans is written there, neither rajma is written there. Something else altogether. So that lady in front queue. So she said, "Okay, where are you from?" So I said, "I'm from India." She said, "Sit down there, wait for me." So I sat down there. She came back with an Indian tray of food. So there was no beef on that. There was chicken on that. There was no beef on that. And there was rice. There was lentils, dal made in a very different way. And there were some vegetables there and some carrots and bread, which is the staple food. They have delicious bread. They have black bread there. It was unbelievable, absolutely. And she just gave it to me and she said, "Here, give me 100 rubles or something." And I gave her the money. Every human being helped me.
A good point here for us to quickly mention, which I probably didn't, that Aditya is the son of Shami Kapoor and Geeta Bali, legendary actors, I mean, superstar icons in their own right, and of course, from the family of Raj Kapoor. And I do remember that the Russians apparently love your family and their movies. So, did you use that card at all? Was that a thing? And is it true?
So I didn't use that card. The card used me. I'll tell you what happened. I went to a fuel pump and on my elbow here, on my riding jacket, I'm wearing a riding jacket, and there's a plastic sleeve here. So I put a color picture of my passport here. Because if you ask me for my passport, I can't put my hand here. Hand, it's not possible. I'm wearing gloves. But if I show
Right.
my hand to you, you can read. And it's satisfactory. It's satisfactory. Bikers don't bullshit so much, they're already small human beings, I mean, you can squash them, so they don't lie. They're very honest human beings, basically. So I kept it there. So I was at a fuel pump, and one lady is viewing me from behind. She was filling fuel behind, and she comes to me slowly, slowly. She looks at my jacket here. I'm very oddly dressed. When you wear a whole gear, I have 3 cameras on my head here. I mean, a crazy kind of a spaceman kind of a feel. So she came next to me. She saw my thing here, and she picked up my arm to read. And obviously, I'm not going to say no or something. So she read it there. And my name is Aditya Raj Kapoor. She asked me, "You are Raj Kapoor?" I said, "No, not at all." So, "You know Raj Kapoor?" So I said, okay, let me tell her, because where will she meet me again? I said,
Why
yes,
lie? Yeah.
why lie? He was my uncle. He is your uncle. I said, yeah. So she said, Boris, come here. So Boris came, a tough-looking husband came. I said,
They
bloody
always
hell.
call Boris.
Yeah. I said, I'm in trouble now. Yeah. So the guy came and he asked me the same questions again. I said, yes. He said, get off your bike. So I said, I'm not going to get off my bike. If I get off my bike, I'm in trouble. I can't run with my gear. My gear,
Correct.
I
Yeah. All
can't
that.
run. And if I'm on the first clutch, so I can just sprint off. Anyway, I got off my bike. He said, you're Raj Kapoor's nephew. I said, yes. Dance with my wife.
Wow. It
I
sounds
said,
perverse for a second, but go on, go on.
no. I said, and you know what he did? I just held her hand. He started singing, Mera Juta Hai
What are you
Japani.
saying?
And we
Bring the
all cried.
smile.
He started crying, his wife started crying. Obviously, when I started crying, I mean, this is love and affection. So
Wow.
those
He,
guys,
he sang the song.
amazing.
He knew the words.
He knew the first
Four lines.
chorus,
Yeah. Yeah.
first four lines like it. Thoda aata tha usko. So these
Not bad.
Raj Kapoor, and he was my age. He was my age.
Uh,
So obviously he's grown up with that black and white and with the early colored cinema and all that. So these
wow.
people love India. These people love India, and it's amazing. It's an
What a
amazing thing.
story that is. It's better than a Bollywood story. I mean, you go there in the middle of nowhere at a petrol pump, a woman is fascinated just by your hand, and next thing you know, they're dancing to your family, sort of the music that, well, made Bollywood. Amazing. That's
And,
fantastic.
yeah, I mean, there were so many instances like this in Russia where somewhere people didn't believe me. I'll be honest with you. So another restaurant I went to, and there was no human being on the left or right. No, Russia is a very spread out place, and you don't find a lot of activity everywhere. If there's a petrol pump, believe me, there's nothing else but that petrol pump. So there was a small cafe, and I decided to use the washroom and just eat something, because you got to keep carbing yourself, keep having carbs to stay awake, So I went there and there was a lady inside. So I love the borscht that they make. It's a super soup, and it's basically meant for people to stay alive. It's fantastic. It's got
It's
carbs,
all, it's
yeah,
everything in a pot, right?
fatty, everything. It's carbs, it's proteins, it's a little bit of fat inside, so it gets you going completely. So I ordered borscht out there, and my friend Elena, the one who really mentored me on the Russian portion of this trip from Russia and from India, she told me, "You don't stop eating borscht. Keep eating it; it'll keep you going all the time." So I had that. So I asked for some borscht and some cleve, some black bread, and all that. Sat down. So that lady told me that, can you write in my book? It's like a little tourism book, a diary. So I wrote what I'm doing there. So she translated it from Google Translator. You put your phone on it, it translates.
Right.
So she's telling me, I don't believe you. Now, if somebody speaks to me like that, my first response is to flight, not fight. It's get out from there. Because I
Right.
cannot even reply you. I don't have the guts to say anything I don't have the energy to do anything. So I said, okay, I put my money on the table without taking my food. I quietly went to where my gear was kept, put it together and ran out. She saw what I was doing. She ran after me outside. Outside was my motorcycle, dirty, filthy, not like Parsi thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well-traveled bike with all my luggage on it. And she came to me and she said, "You are a biker." I said, "Yes, look." Number plate I showed her. I had a Bombay, Maharashtra number plate. That's not a India, that's not a Russia number plate. She apologized to me. She put a hand into a pocket and took out chocolates and gave it to me. She said, "Russia, very cold, eat." I mean, who would do
Hey,
this here?
Aditya, but here's a pattern. Wherever you go in Russia, women are flocking to you. Have you understood? They even leave their husbands or significant others and they come and start chatting you up. That's what's happening.
No,
Two
it's
stories out
not.
of two.
Well, I told you the girl story. So the guy story also.
No, no. Oh, tell us. Is it interesting? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. So there's a guy I met from Goa. He's Russian. So he's telling me, "You're from India." I said, "Yes." So he says that, "I like India, very good. Where do you stay in India?" So I never give my correct address. It doesn't make sense. You don't know who's coming, what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So he would think I'm from Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras. So I said, "No, I'm
Right.
from Goa," which I really was from Goa. He said, "Very good place. You are a good man. Stay in Goa." So I said, "Oh God, this is very close for comfort." I said, "Where are you in Goa?" He gave the name of the village where I stay. So I changed the name of my village completely. I mean, this is amazing. So he went and helped me with my food. Then I had some chocolate with me. I gave him some chocolate. So
Wow.
these are people.
This, Aditya, sorry to interrupt, but this podcast has to go out to Putin because this is such good PR for Russia. Right now, they need it so badly world over because all your stories are of beautiful people who are welcoming, friendly, loving, knowledgeable as well. So it's
One,
totally different.
I met one policeman. Everybody asked me, "Did you meet a policeman?" Because I was geared up to meeting them. I was ready for them basically. So I met one policeman. He was very classic. It's like a Hindi film story. He was about 10 kilometers away, 5 kilometers away from me down the road. I could see him in the distance with a flashing of his car light. And it's a straight road, absolutely. So I said, oh God, now what do I do? I had all my details, I had all my papers, but I come from India. Something is always wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some कोई लोचा किधर ना किधर पकड़ा जाए.
100%.
I got scared, humanly scared. Also, I was 61 years old, yeah. Come on, you're not all that young to, hey, boss, I'm not Cyrus. Get going like. So
I'm
then,
1 year younger than you. Go on, go on.
so then I went to, and I slowly went to, I parked my car behind him. I parked my bike behind him to show respect, He didn't say anything. He's watching me, seeing what I say. So then I went to him and I showed him my passport. I showed him everything. He didn't ask for anything. I showed him everything. So he's still looking at me. So I said, oh God, this guy's worse than me. I mean, he's very smart here. He's not saying anything at all.
Intimidating by not doing anything. Yeah.
By not saying anything. So I said, okay. So I put my hand in my pocket. I keep chocolate here on my top right hand pocket because it's very cold. I would always have one bar, like a 5-star bar, that size. I had one.
Indian tradition.
So I took out chocolate. I broke it into half.
Ah, nice.
Like half. So he looks at me and says, smart man. The first word he said, it was in pure English. Proper pure English. Smart man. So he says, where are you from? Then I give him my whole story like I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He said, okay, don't worry. I will tell you what to do. He gave me the exact detailing of how to get to the next 30 kilometers, which means the next night halt. Don't do this, don't do this, do this, don't listen to this man. The fuel pump is not there, it is there. All the details that I wanted. And if there is any problem, go straight down, you'll find a police station and just go there. You don't have to give my name. I mean, I was shocked here. I said, this is it.
Our police have trained you. Our police have trained you differently. So that's why the shock also. Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Wow. Listen, we'll run out of time. I want to quickly get to the rest of because you've crisscrossed all over. So we'll just fast forward a bit from Russia. What happens after that? And keep in mind, this is what 40-45 days across the length and breadth of a huge mini continent.
So I got out of a little ahead of Moscow, about 1,000 kilometers ahead of Moscow. From the border, I went to Latvia. From Latvia, I went to Lithuania. From Lithuania, I went to Poland. And from Poland, I went to Austria. Beautiful, absolutely.
Are the people?
Sorry?
But are the people welcoming everywhere? I'm not trying to be negative about anyone, but as you go out of Russia into the Baltics,
everywhere. There are two things here. One is it is very curious because you don't find Indians doing this everywhere, and also a solo biker is very curious. Then a solo round the world traveler, what is called RTW. The technical word for what I'm doing is RTW, round the world. What you call circumnavigation. So the bikers in the language is RTW. So I'm thinking RTW. Yeah. It's very curious. Ye banda yaar actually akela hai. He's not pretending. There's nobody behind him, So everywhere it was like that. In Germany, South Germany, I was crossing that lake which connects Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. And I got onto the ferry. And when I'm on a ferry, I'm very happy because I can take my camera out and, I can be like a tourist.
And the bike?
The bike is on the ferry itself.
What are you saying? Wow.
Yeah, the bike is on the ferry and I parked my bike there. So as the ferry was leaving, one biker came and parked his bike next to me. So obviously he was also crossing and the guy got a very stylish guy. He had, fine leather jacket and, I had the coarse stuff. What is called mechanical clothing, it's called mechanized clothing basically. But he had the fine leather stuff and he had a scarf, very Devanand kind of feel, And he got off and he looked elder to me, or my age or elder to me. So then he came to me, saw my, and his bike was 10 times more expensive. I took a Triumph, I took a Bonneville. You remember a Bonneville, a Bonnie?
Yeah, of course.
You remember Marlon Brando in his early days,
My God, yes.
Yeah, I took this bike for that reason actually. And
Wild
he
ones.
had,
What is it? Oh,
yeah, wild ones, yeah.
yeah.
So he had a super Honda or something or the other, or Yamaha or Honda. I mean, very expensive. So he came to me and he met me. Hello, how he spoke in proper English, European English. Then he asked me all my questions, every single things, and he saw my number plate. He said, "You are from India." I said, "Oh, you know India?" "Yes, I bike in Goa." So he has biked in Goa. He's
The
biked
hell?
in India. So he is a proper biker. So a lot of foreigners, they come to India, they pick up a bike at the airport. It's sent at the
Right.
airport, and they bike all over the country after that. This is a very big thing here.
Wow.
So this guy, and
And
when I was talking to him, the ticket conductor, he came to me, So this guy stopped the ticket conductor and he told me, "I will pay for you." I said, "No, I don't want that. I mean, I don't need that. Thank you so much." He said, "No, you are a biker from India and you are going around the world. I must help you." He paid 55 euros. That's a lot of money. Yeah. 55 euros, कितना हो गया? 5,500-6,000 रुपया हो गया. And by the time you carry it there and everything else happens.
I
And
would have asked for a little bit
for
of chai pani extra, but I understand what you're saying. Yes. Huh. But have you again? There's a pattern. All the European bikers you meet, they are from Goa. It's like there's a Goa connect.
Goa,
There are these women who chase you, and there's a Goa connect. The European bikers from Goa. It's a special breed. Yeah. But so what you're telling us is that across the world there's a tribe of bikers which knows no race, no nationality, no creed, and they just there's a basic sense of humanity. It's almost like a lesson for the rest of the world, where people are brought together by one passion and one sort of love for, and then the empathy factor is so high. No, he knows what it's like to be in a foreign country, finding your way, going through the darkness, etc. And immediately that, see how human beings can be nice. We need to tell more stories of this. Otherwise, all we hear is the bleak, bad side of humanity. This
I went
podcast
to
is
Kent.
terrible. Sorry?
Can you hear
Ah,
me?
yeah, I can hear
Can
you. I
you
can
hear
hear you.
me?
Yeah, yes, yes.
I went to I went to Kentucky in USA, and I
Hmm.
was at a fuel pump there. So one guy saw me. It's very easy to recognize a biker. I mean, he's a long distance biker, like
And the paraphernalia.
paraphernalia. So the guy came to me and he asked me, "Are you from biking across USA?" I said, "No, I'm going around the world." So he gave me a coin. He gave me a coin. That's a gold coin. It's a Kentucky coin of honor. So I said, "What do you do with
Wow.
this?" He said, "If you go to a bar in Kentucky and you put it on the table, the person on your left pays for your beer."
I'm writing this down so I'm never on anybody's left in a bar in Kentucky. I'll just stay on the right, whatever happens. And no political
I
message
mean,
there.
he knew that I may not come to Kentucky again, but he just felt nice giving it to me. I went to another
Yeah.
fuel pump, and the two bikers were there. So we were chit chatting, like you and me are chit chatting. So that the lady behind the counter heard the whole story. So I told her I want to buy a cup of coffee from behind the store, to the rear of the store. So I gave her $1. Dollar is the basic coffee that you get. And I didn't want to spend too
Right.
much money because you don't know what's going to happen in life. But when I went there, American coffees, they have 25 types of coffees there, pumpkin coffee. God alone knows what they, but delicious. But they were $3, $4, $5, $6. So I said, let me take a $5 one. I've reached America. It's a big thing. I can celebrate life. I went there, took it, and I came back to her saying, "Look, I have to pay you more because I've taken an expensive coffee." She says, "No, I've heard your story. The coffee is on America." What a
Wow.
thing, yeah.
Eh, yeah, it's just, I'm feeling bad. I'm not a biker. I'm just thinking that these good experiences make up for so many bad things that happen in your life sometimes. Because complete strangers going out of their way. This is a beautiful. Does Quest have all these stories as well? These
Yes, yes.
anecdotes?
A lot of
Oh,
these are there.
excellent.
A lot of these are
So actually, a bit like Lance Armstrong, it's not about the bike. It's much more than the bike. It's more about the cultural exchanges.
there.
One
Yes.
man from India carrying the flag of humanity. Lovely. I think this is going to be a great book. We need to take a quick break, and we'll come back because we want to talk about Aditya Raj Kapoor, the man, the myth, the legend, the actor, the entrepreneur, the legendary family you come from. We want to try and fill up as much as we can. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break. Aditya, don't go anywhere. You can start your bike, but don't actually take off. That's the point here.
Okay.
Here's the break. Break time.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Storytellers and Storytellers, Vineet talks to Gully Rap OG, The Evil, aka Dhaval Parab. The Evil shares his journey from rapping for his friends in school to rapping with Ranveer Singh in Gully Boy. On Press Decode, Sarah Vagda and Prafula talk about the Indian entry to the Academy Awards, Writing with Fire, and Will Smith's infamous slap. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita cover acquisitions in fintech, fantasy sports, and debate over work from home versus work from office. On Ek Chuski Finance, Priyanka introduces us to the interesting concept of financial makeup. And on Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav weaves a story that connects the Portuguese, banned languages, and grinding songs. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you might be listening to us on. And do check us out on YouTube. We're building a whole bunch of different channels. You can find them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And we're also doing a small listener survey, which we would really appreciate your help with. It helps us kind of talk to advertisers. So you could go to ivmpodcast.com/survey. It'll just take a couple of minutes and it would be really helpful to us. We do appreciate this. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance and the India Water Portal. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hi, welcome back. Aditya, I think it's really mean to ask someone to look back on their life in 5-10 minutes. I mean, I realize that when asking the question, it just sounds stupid because there's so much to talk about. I mean, I wish I could let you talk more about the bike travails and all. They just sound so fantastic. I can imagine you just sitting there in a bar and regaling people for hours. These stories are fascinating. We have this young man who's not into bikes, but he's into ladies who chased you. He's also into foreigners who live in Goa because he lives off them when he's there. I won't tell you why. So supply demand change if you
Yes.
get into. Beta,
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. No, sir. I mean, Goa is great. Yes, Goa is
Yeah.
fantastic.
But
yeah,
you
I
like this,
actually,
you understand that his whole story, what he's telling, I mean, it's incidental. I'm sure he didn't plan anything. Is that it's
yeah,
just filled of all these, it's almost like chicken soup for the soul
it's
sort of thing in
amazing.
the end because you're just meeting people and everything is like a nicer story. I'm already feeling happier today just listening to it. I'm wondering whether we in the media need to just push out some more positive tales because it's there. The same country which is being berated, and I'm not saying they're in
Yeah.
the right at the moment for what they're doing by any stretch of imagination. But I think your experiences, I mean, your brand ambassador, Russia and the Baltics and that entire area, in fact.
Sir, have you met any of the people you met on the trip? Have you met them since after your entire journey was over?
No.
No?
We are there
I,
and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
here. And we chat with each other, but some people like I
yeah,
meet on the
yeah,
petrol pump or somewhere. Where am I going to track them? Like, but I've written about them
sure,
in the
sure.
book. I hope they get the book and I read it and I'm
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, yeah, that
right.
would be amazing.
If you ask me, he shouldn't meet them again. There's a romance to
Okay.
what happened, and that's a time and a place. You kill it
Yeah.
because what
Very
they
good.
were to
No.
him then and there is magical. Then it's just another relationship. And you know how did they get terrible? Look at you and me. We were almost in love when we first met. Listen, I want to fill in the rest of Aditya's life as much as we can. Let's go back a little bit. Of course, your famous family. Let's talk a bit about your mom, Geeta Bali. What are your memories of being the son of these legends, of family of
Uh,
legends?
well, my mom, as you know, expired very young on, like, she died when she was just 30, 35 years old and it was very unfortunate for her. So, but I spent a lot of good time with her and she kept me very close to her. And she came from a family of philosophers from Punjab, absolutely. Her father was a Granthi, so that's her lineage basically. And very few people know this. A lot of people ask me, how did Shami Kapoor become big? What did he do? How did he become great? Who did he copy? Who did he mimic? Who was his mentor? Things like that. So obviously,
Elvis.
no, not true. Shami came before Elvis, as even Amir Khan has pointed out. So
Really?
then, yeah,
Really?
yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
that's not the point. What I'm trying to tell you is that Nasir Khan, Nasir Hussain, Seshadar Roy, all these big giants who played a role in his life, obviously mentored him, helped each other, took it on. And subsequently, Shakti Samanta came and intellectualized the young adult look right from Chinatown to Kashmir Ki Kali and so on.
hmm.
And then came a guy called Vijay Anand who really professionalized and made him the mature adult. In Tisri Manzil, if you see, he perfected his art completely. But the person who really made this happen was none other than my mother, Geeta Bali. By the time they got married, mom was a big heroine, and Shamiji has finished his 15th flop. He finished his 15th flop, and he was preparing
Sorry
to
to
go
laugh,
to.
but it's just
He was going to a tea estate to become a salaried employee. probably that's a destiny I took up when I started out, because I got into the business line in a very simple way. And my mom said, I don't mind, if you want to go, I'll go with you, because they had married each other. So he said, but she said, no, wait for one more film. Your film will become very good. By which time she had made him shave off his mustache. She had given him all his shoulder movements and all that, made him little bit. He said, yaar, kuch karo yaar, koi ladki shadki, koi hilo thoda, move around a little bit, do something in your life, So she pushed him into the whole excitement and the feeling of being Shammi Kapoor. Obviously, he took it forward to heights. So she
The
did
hyper
that.
movements and all came from your mom. All the
You see one film called Jab Se Tumhe Dekha Hai. That was the film that mom produced for Boni Kapoor. Surinder ji's first film is that. In that, mom has got one small music piece on tequila. You remember tequila, that music piece, English music piece, Mexican music piece.
tequila,
Yeah, tequila. On that, she's doing a solo performance. It's a 2-3 minute thing. I asked Dad.
Oh, I think we lost him. Cyrus?
He'll come back. Give me a second. Oh, sad.
Wow,
What an interesting
this
point.
fascinating stories all around, though.
Isn't that tequila? Is that the American tequila?
I don't think I heard that.
Tequila. You have to have heard it. It's an iconic song. It's played in Hollywood
It
and
sounds
Bollywood
familiar.
films. You'll know the
You're right,
track.
it does sound familiar. Yeah.
When you hear the track, I promise you, you won't know it, but you'll recognize the track. Anyway, in the meantime, till we get Aditya back, let's talk a little bit about the fact that he not only went across the entire world, it's a semi-planned trip, but he actually didn't have people to help him. So all the things that he's talking about just
very cool.
incidentally happened, which is a very chancy thing to do. I was just thinking, when we go, we plan a holiday. Now with this pandemic receding, I'm thinking most people will be planning a holiday. I'm just looking for people to pay for mine, and then off we go.
Yeah.
You get worried even if you haven't got an airport pickup, if you haven't got day 3 planned properly. The world is a little scary that way, in spite of the digital age and you being connected and stuff. But imagine doing this for 10 months. He's back. Aditya, welcome back.
Thank you. This is life.
Look, this is life. Don't worry. Our show is so shoddy. Yeah, you have no idea. You enhanced it by exiting and coming back. You've given us like a moment. It's a theatrical moment. Are you there? He's playing with our souls. He's come for a second and gone again.
Sir, can you hear us properly, sir?
I think so.
I think there might be an internet problem.
Words will clash with each other.
No. It's good. Sir. We can hear you.
I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, you're fine. No, you were telling us. So Tequila, the English song, the track that was Geeta Bali was performing to for a couple of minutes. You were in the middle of that story. Hello. Oops. I think we lost him again.
Yeah, I think the internet is
at the same point. I want to ask him this question again.
So if
no, he's back.
Oh, he's there.
If you see the performance that she was doing music, not so. That she helped me to learn my dancing steps. She put him onto a groove of how to free himself. So that is what I've been trying to say.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Because that's really his signature style. I don't think anyone can really do the Shammi Kapoor.
Yeah.
We all did it in at college.
The head
movement, the shoulder movements. I don't know. That's why there's a lot of Elvis in it. I thought, being a big Elvis fan myself, but he was an Elvis fan though. Yeah. Even if Elvis outdated him, or rather post-dated him. Yeah. Aditya, can you hear us?
I think there's a lag. I think we'll wait for a couple of seconds. Okay.
I didn't understand what you said.
Don't worry. That's the sole podcast is like that. Okay, let's move on a little bit quickly with the other things we want to talk about. So then let's talk about your acting experience. You did a few films as well.
So when I was
that's how we can't understand you at all, sir. So sorry. Sir, did you have to join from your phone because?
So I said that.
Because the laptop went off,
Okay.
or
I
is
think
it
you're
a
asking
Wi-Fi
me
issue?
about. It is no, it is on my mobile Wi-Fi.
It's on a
I'm on the
Wi-Fi.
mobile Wi-Fi because the power has gone off completely. The power has gone off here.
Oh,
Okay. No problem, sir. So please continue. I
this
think
would
suddenly it
never
got
happen
better
in
right now.
Russia. Oh,
Never happened in
yeah.
Russia. uh, yes, sir. So please continue. I think it's okay. No, we lost him again.
No, I think he's there. It's just
It's
like
going to be
lagging
very
as
difficult.
in.
Yes, sir. This is like we can't understand you almost at all when you start speaking.
So
So you try logging
I
in and
suggest you. Yeah, it does not make
Again,
sense. Not make sense. The three of us, there's a lot of bandwidth.
so I'll go off actually. I'll go off video. Let's see if that makes any difference.
okay, still
Yeah,
trying.
yeah.
We don't want to lose
You
Aditya
will
Raj Kapoor while we have him.
always be there because you are answering. You can.
No, it's not very clear, sir.
No, sir. It's still not
Yeah.
clear. I don't know what to do. So what was it before this? You were on Wi-Fi before this, and then the light suddenly went. Is that right?
Well, we have the visual. We can live with that.
So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we can just.
can you hear me at all, or you can't hear me?
Now
So
we
we
can.
can.
Suddenly we hear you.
Suddenly we
it's
hear
clear.
you,
And
but
then it
then like
goes.
when you start talking, sometimes it just. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it now, Cyrus.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
let me try to talk slowly.
Sure,
Yes.
sir.
I had a film experience. I had a film experience at Arcus Studios when I was 18 years old. I worked with Ranbir Kapoor and Raj Kapoor in Dharam Karam, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, and I was destined to become a film actor. But before I could become a film actor, I met my Guruji, my Guru, spiritual master, and he pulled me away from the film industry and told me to get into the business line. So I've worked 30 years non-stop in various kinds of businesses. And when I migrated to Dubai, I coincidentally got into the film line because I had to earn money. And I did about a couple of films then. When I came back to India, I did a couple of films, one television serial, about 8, 10 films. Nothing on the screen. At a point of life, I decided to stop working absolutely. In my career of how to retire in a dignified manner. I'm hoping you got that.
We got retired in a dignified manner, but I'm wondering if you're telling me to suggesting that I should do that. That is the only worry there. But yeah, I think we vaguely got it. Oh, I think what we'll do, Silvery, let's go to the AMAs.
Let's go
Let
to the AMAs.
Aditya answer as well, because at least that way we'll be able to try and pick up what he's saying. If I'm making
Yeah.
him talk for a long time, it's going to be difficult. Shorter answers
Yeah,
will probably work
absolutely.
better.
Absolutely.
So
All right, Aditya sir, we're going into the AMAs. The first question comes in from Kamal Sethi, who says, how did the bike do on the Russian terrain and Russian weather? And another question he has, Kamal Sethi has is, how good or otherwise were the Russian roads and how was the Russian traffic? This is regular Mumbai
vis-a-vis
question.
Indian roads and traffic.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The Russian highway, the Trans-Siberian highway, is one of the best in the world. You can land an aeroplane on that. It is very good. The highway is very well maintained, and it's beautiful, absolutely. Russia is like how God created Earth before marketing came in. This is exactly how it is. So it's beautiful. The whole thing is like Yellowstone National Park. It's beautiful, absolutely. So roads are very nice.
Okay.
Aditya, what about the second part of the question, the traffic? I think as a Mumbaikar, or Delhiite, or Bangalorean, you always worry about traffic. So for you in
Please,
Russia, did you ever feel traffic?
about traffic, please look at the demographics of that country. There are hardly any people living there. So,
Yeah, true.
but when I went to Moscow, I only went to meet the officials there and do some PR. I didn't go to tour. You will get rush. You will get traffic. In Vladivostok, it's a big city. You will get some traffic. and a few cities in between. But the word traffic only exists in Asian countries and especially Republic of India. It doesn't work everywhere else.
Republic of India. I don't know that Republic is a special message there. Okay, fair enough. Let's try and take another one. Let's hope the sound is a little
Okay.
better.
Yep. Aditya sir, any chance your Wi-Fi would come back in like a next couple of minutes?
No power.
It,
Like yeah, the power would come back. Like how long does it take usually for the power to be out? Because we really can't understand.
it normally
It's,
comes
very
in 2 minutes or 1 minute.
okay. So
The
it should be back
Wi-Fi,
in a minute.
the power normally
Okay.
comes back in 1 minute, but it has
Okay.
not come back. I
Okay.
told the
No problem,
power
sir.
department that I'm talking to Cyrus Says, but they didn't believe me. Like
Why did you do that? You should never do that.
I think now it's gonna take longer. Damn it.
Now
Okay.
we've
Yeah.
understood what the problem is. You mention our horrible podcast and my name, and they've just cancelled us. The Indian version of cancel culture.
no,
We'll try. Okay, come on.
they said that Cyrus name.
Oh no.
How sad. I didn't get
Yeah.
that. Uh,
Yeah.
and now he's frozen completely again. Ouch.
Yes. It's a
But a
very,
very
very peculiar place to be.
interesting point. Yeah, sadly. We'll get him. We'll hopefully get
Oh,
him. We still have a few minutes to go. Let's take the
yeah.
next question until if and when we get him back.
Okay, sure. This one comes from Arpit Bansal, who says, "We know that Cyrus is triggered by the mere existence of Zomato bike riders and Silvery being beaten up by bikers. With a name like Lord FuseBox, do you think the bad name bikers get is justified?" But
Okay,
that's
this
false.
really
So
is for
it's,
him, but we'll
yeah,
give our point to the whole thing. I would
yeah,
like to just segregate here, not to start tribalism, but I have no problem with the organized bikers. I have a lot of friends who are part of that group, and I don't want to again make a class issue out of this whole thing. Organized bikers are totally different. They're very well
yeah,
behaved. They
yeah,
they follow like a sort of discipline in everything they do, and they don't really hassle traffic. Everything is organized. They go early morning. They're cross countrying. They're on highways. They're well dressed, and they're definitely not trying to run you over or go through one ways. So it's a totally different thing. The only thing they have in common is they're using a motorcycle, but there's nothing in
yeah,
common. The people we are talking about are the indisciplined, let's say the vendors of Mumbai who are on cycles, or people who have no work or whatever, who are on motorcycles and just disregard everybody. They're proper criminals, and no one's taking action against them because they can murder you. They do murder people every day. People are killed on the pavements of Mumbai by these evil people. They have nothing to do with Aditya Raj Kapoor's group of lovely bikers who wear fluorescent yellow and have 7 cameras on their head and get up at 2:30 in the morning and carry their paratas in their bag or whatever because they only have 5 minutes to break. I was just Another biker friend of mine told me how in Ladakh and all they have to carry their petrol because some of
yeah.
these big bikes only give you about 15 to 20 on the liter. They're not like the Japanese bikes are used to, and so they carry
My
canisters of
power has
petrol.
come back. I'm just wait a second.
Okay, no problem,
Wow.
sir. Take your time. All good.
I don't want to brag, Aditya, but I made a few calls. Aditya is a friend of mine. I just said, boss, in the middle of this show, the other
Yeah.
Aditya, the one who's in power, and he said, no problem, not a issue. And within minutes, this is. I don't want to take credit,
Okay.
but here's a
So
question which
yes, sir.
we
So yes,
vainly
sir.
try
The
to
question
answer.
was from Arpit Bansal, who has asked, "We know that Cyrus is triggered by the mere existence of Zomato bike riders and Silvery being beaten up by bikers." I'm Silvery. With a name like Lord FuseBox, do you think the bad name bikers get is justified?
But why do bikers get a bad name? Bikers don't
No,
get
so
a bad name.
I'm no,
No,
Aditya,
that's
that one
Cyrus
second, let me
already
clarify.
said.
There are two types of bikers. We are talking
Ah,
about the bikers who do the guys on the road who misbehave, riding on the pavement, going through the one ways. Your delivery boys going berserk, left, right, and center, cutting you, driving parallel to the traffic, things like that.
okay. I
Not
call
your biker fraternity is not the people we're after.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so I think if I'm going to comment about society, this whole dialogue will go to some other level, So basically, that I was rude to bikers. I must be frank with you, Cyrus. I used to drive a gypsy when I was younger, and that was my main car for 10 years of my life. And I used to find the same menace. Biker is going from here, under you, over you, below you, everything. So I was near Mahim Church in Mumbai, and I was coming in from Bandra going to Mahim Church. I had to take a left turn, to go there towards that one way.
Yeah.
And one biker came and cut me off. I stopped the car. I put my window down. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" He said one thing to me, "Sir, where will we go then?" I had no answer. And what he told me changed my life completely.
What
I
do you?
started
Where will you go?
Where
He
will we
was going
go? No, the point is that there is no road and dedication for the biker. There is no sanctity,
Oh,
no
that way.
civility, no
Exactly.
road, no system, no respect, nothing
So
for the
what you're
biker.
saying is the system has ill-treated the biker, and so the biker is ill-treating us. So it's a
No,
system to blame.
exactly. But it made
Right.
me conscious. It made me
Aditya,
conscious.
I take your point. I will start the revolution. We will destroy the administration one step at a time going forward over this biker issue. It's not them
Yeah.
really. I understand what you're
No,
saying.
no,
It
no,
is them. They're ridiculously badly behaved. At least in Malbar Hill, where you also grew up. I know you guys used to live here as well, not too far from my lane. And it's just
Hmm.
we are filled with one ways, brother. There's all black, dark spots or blind spots when they turn and you're not prepared, and it's ridiculous. And let's not start off. Your biking fraternity is very different. It's like a sport which is done, by people who go and play their sport. Let's go to a neutral question.
All right. The next one comes from Tarun Kaushik, who says, this is very interesting. He says, most of today's generation break away from the corporate lineage to go to arts/films. How was it doing the reverse? Was there any resistance from
That's a
being
good
from
question.
such a legendary family?
it's a very, very soul-searching question, and for me, because yes, not resistance from my family, because my mother and father were very open-minded and big-minded people. They were very generous in letting me become a laboratory and try to do experiments on my own. But it was very difficult for me because nobody believed me. If I was suppose I had to collect a check from Cyrus and give it to Antariksh, तो साइरस उठते क्या पैसा लेने आया साला बाप से लेना क्या तकलीफ है तेरे को I mean because there was
But
no
I wouldn't mind,
credibility.
sir.
Huh?
I
Sorry?
wouldn't mind, by the way. I'm just saying.
He's trying to be a smart aleck.
Yeah.
He's another bloody biker. He's
But then
as
I
bad
want
as
to keep
them.
it, I want to keep it for myself then.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
So it
but
was very difficult.
but were you tempted to not to go back? Would it be the easy way? I would think.
No. I was never tempted. Once I understood what I'm supposed to be doing, I got my mission in life, at that young age. And not the full mission, but just the basic understanding of what my guru is trying to do to me. He's trying to teach me something different in life. And nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Nothing wrong with
And
that. Look, I went around the world.
and that brings us to where you are now.
Yeah.
Amazingly, we read that you're trying to finish a BA now. Is it at the age of 60?
Yes, so I was a 10th standard student. I don't know if you're aware of a school called Campion in Mumbai.
Of course,
Of
we hate
course.
that school. Huh? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know you guys. All the Kapoors went there. I know the story. Huh?
So,
Tell me.
so yeah, so I finished my 10th standard there, and I was the last of the 11th standard batch, and I failed in my 11th. So when I had my 10th standard certificate, which I didn't have also, and I never did my school because I was joining RK Studio. So you don't need schooling for that. Nobody in my family went to school as such. So when I retired and when this whole thing came around and I shifted to Goa, my daughter told me that, Dad, why don't you finish your education? So she gave me a direction like. So I said, wow, no harm. So I joined Indira Gandhi National Open University. It is the world's largest university, Cyrus. World's largest online university. A lot of foreigners come here to study and go. Let me tell you that. And at any point of time, hear this, 7 lakh students are giving an exams at any point of
Wow.
time, any semester. 7 lakh is the size of a small country or town here,
Yeah.
anywhere in the world. So I took up BA there and I'm on to my third year now. I'm trying to major in philosophy. And that's it. I've given one set of exams just yesterday when Jennifer called me up and when Harsh called me up. Harsh is like a son to me, he helped me a lot on my Indian bike trips, like. So when Harsh called me up, I said, sure, anything for you. And then Cyrus, of course, one knows and one hears him. And I really like
I'm
to see
also
what.
BA. I'm also BA pass. So I mean, we
How,
have that in common at least. Finally. Yeah.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I've got one
Yeah,
more
it's a
semester to go.
matter of time. 7 lakh per day. Gin ke batao. It's just a matter
So
of time.
I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying studying now. And that's how I pass my time. I'm a woodworker, basically. Carpentry,
But
Oh.
I know. There's the most famous carpenter or woodworker started the world's most famous religion. But let's not go into that side.
We won't go there.
Just
Yeah.
yeah. But no, coming back to you, what a fabulous story your life has been in the sense it's so unconventional and so individualistic. So in a sense, you ran away from Shami and Geeta Bali's legacy, but you are that because you're an artist. Everything about you is artistic. Everything about you is like I'm not going to follow any rules. I'll do my thing. So, in a way, you must be, I would say, proud if you look back for a few minutes. What an
Very, yeah.
interesting biodata, and to do a BA now at 60 without even blinking. Like, And what's
65.
wrong with that?
Yeah.
65, even better. I think
No.
it's a great idea. No, it is. Why should
I
people
enjoy
give up
life.
because the age went this way or that way?
Well, I'm enjoying myself. That's the only way to put this together, Cyrus. To answer your question, I'm enjoying myself. God is very kind that I have the wisdom to be able to think like this, and that's it.
But think about how many people, Silvery, when we are
Yeah.
young, we are forced to do things. It's all done because we sort of have to follow the path, right?
Absolutely right.
When we were given a choice to actually study, now he's at that point where there's some sort of self-actualization happening, and he's able to want to study. It's coming from inside. He actually wants to study philosophy. By the time you actually do that, you are, I would think, in your 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't think it's possible without being pressurized by society and people around to get into medicine, engineering, what have you, on your own. People just wouldn't do that. It's at
Yeah.
20, you're chasing girls. That's what it
Let's,
is.
besides the last statement, let me flip this around a little bit. Most Parsis are doctors, or they're lawyers, or they're property dealers, or some of them are industrialists and business people or traders. How many of them are Cyrus Brocha, who has gone right from MTV? I've been following you since then. Some
Oh
Bakra
my God.
something you were doing at that time.
MTA
That's
Bakra.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. The shame of
And
the country. Oh,
all throughout, I've been following and tracking you. How many people? And you were doing plays before that. I remember you were with
that's
Pearl
right. Yeah.
Padamsee or no? I don't remember who.
Correct. Correct. You're right. You're right. Yeah. You
Yeah,
were
so
one of the
you
three people who watched the play, obviously. So thank you so much for that. Yeah.
So,
Oh.
Pearl, Madam Pearl used to teach at Campion, so that's the reason I know
Yes.
her.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
100%. Yes.
So
I remember
I
that.
knew her when she had just left Alec. That's the time when we all came into her life, So the
Right.
point is, you're coming from that time. You're coming into media. You've professionalized media. You've told people you can laugh, bloody fools, laugh a little bit and enjoy yourself, but reasonably and within a social limit, which is what you're doing. Nothing wrong with
Wow.
that.
That's right.
You've reversed the whole podcast. Now I'm being interviewed and being praised, and it's very uncomfortable for Silvery, who hates me. He's already taking
So
a
No,
there,
peek at
not
it and
all.
is going to throw it on
Not
the
all. Not
screen in front of
all.
him.
so
Okay.
there is
Thank you
a
for
uh,
all that, Aditya. But yeah.
there is a philosophy of humor, by the way. There is a philosophy. Today I was studying it before coming to your show because there is nothing called philosophy of humor. It is not written, it is not practiced, it is not known. So I said it's not possible. How can there be no philosophy of humor? There's a philosophy of language, there's a philosophy of science, so on, so on, so forth. So the philosophy of humor is very simple. It really started with the apes when they were copying each other to do something. That's the technical way it came forward. Subsequently, the community started expressing their inner thoughts that they could not communicate in public by way of humor. So satire came into the whole picture. And then, of course, political humor came in and took it forward. But people still want to exhale, have a good life at the cost of their in-law, their father, their mother, this and that. So there's a whole system called the philosophy of humor. And as long as you're reasonable about it, you're brilliant here.
I think that message you're sending out to Chris Rock and Will Smith. I'm trying to figure out who we're targeting here, because you're talking about boundaries as well. Because now that's another gray area for comedians, artists, etc. We don't have time. I'd love to get into that, because that's a huge debate whether they should be or shouldn't be, and if they, where would you draw it, for example. We'll do one quick one,
Yeah,
Silvery.
absolutely. So I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. So your family famously has this love for food, that you guys love a good meal, like love a good uh, kebabs and all that. So what would you say is like some of the best food you had on your journey,
So
if you remember?
during the last few years of my dad's life, I started cooking for him.
Oh, wow.
I mean, all Kapoors like to eat and they're knowledgeable about food. But I took it one step further. I said, let me start cooking. So when I was in Dubai, I tried to cook and I burnt up the kitchen completely. And the fire alarm went off. When my children ran to my wife saying that we'll go to the cops. This guy's crazy. Stop him, mom. So, so she stopped me and then said, if you want to learn cooking, then please do it the sensible way. And she showed me how to cook. My wife is a terrific cook, basically. So she taught me, and over the years I learned cook. So cooking. So when my dad was ill, and I spent a lot of time with him at that time, I cooked food for him, and I cooked the Vindaloo according to Leela Naidu's recipes. Very technical, 32 ingredients all put together. I struggled at it from 11 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I gave it to him for dinner, and he said it's excellent. So Kapoor's, and especially my dad used to make prawns inside a coconut. नारियल के अंदर prawn डाल के उसको bake करो. Something very basically coconut prawns need coconut curry. So he would do things like that. So dad and my mother was basically a vegetarian. Geeta Balaji was basically a vegetarian. Old Punjabis, let me tell you, agro Punjabis and the old Punjabis are basically been vegetarian people. There's murgi khao, tang todo, all that is a very decent.
Silvery, are you old Punjabi?
Yeah, we've done all that. Murgi, tang todna and all that. Yes, that's very. We do that also. Yes.
Your name is very nice, Antariksh.
Thank you, sir. It's silvery, according to Cyrus.
Are you aware that on planet Earth you have 4 cardinal points: north, south, east, west?
Yes, sir. Of course.
And अंतरिक्ष में दिशा नहीं होती है.
Well,
wow.
yeah.
Yes, directionless.
Or you're an antariksh head, a space head. That's the other way of putting it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, we have to wrap it up here, but should we take one very quick question?
Yes, absolutely.
We missed him for 5 minutes in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Grim Fandango has asked that he's basically said that Triumph and BMW touring bikes are great. So I would like to get your thoughts on Triumph and BMW bikes as well. Like, what is your preferred bike?
So they are great. Both are, see, if you want to do long distance biking, my friend, then understand that your service cycle, your window of service cycling has to be good. You cannot take a 2000 kilometer service cycle. Where will you go? कहाँ जाओगे? क्या करोगे? किसके पास जाओगे? After every 2000, 3000 kilometers, will you have a service center of that kind? So I took a Triumph. I serviced in Mumbai. Then I serviced in Moscow. Then I serviced in London. Then I serviced in New Jersey. New Jersey only because I said, let's do it here. Why be technical about it? So similarly with BMW, they're both excellent bikes. BMW has gone a long way around and long way down. Those two guys have done it. I met few Triumphs on the way, but it was very good fun.
Oh, that's a very poignant point. I met few Triumphs on the way of my Triumph. Across the world. Yeah, very interesting. But you know, people don't think about the fact that that's why I can't understand when you say that I'm not technically that savvy and all that. I can't believe that's true. Because you cannot get on that bike without the second half, which is what you're saying, servicing, looking after the saaf safai onwards of the bike. I mean, you have to have that knowledge as you embark on the journey.
Being neat and clean, saaf safai is one part, yeah. But I knew how to take care of a flat tire, for example. I was taught how to do that. So I knew that much. So when I was leaving the country, when I was flying from Prithvi to Delhi and all that, the Triumph mechanic asked me, कि आपके पास एक proper service kit है क्या? तो मैंने बोला मेरे पास एक छोटा मोटा है. So he sent the man to the shop to buy a very sophisticated service kit. I said मुझे आता नहीं है. बोलता आपको नहीं आएगा पर सामने वाले को आएगा. तो सामने वाले को बोलो मुझे फोन करे, मैं उसको समझाऊंगा क्या करने के लिए. This is the support that Triumph gave me. They dedicated a person who I could call any time of the night, and he would tell the man in front what to do with my motorcycle. They said, "Don't touch your motorcycle. You don't need to touch it."
So this collective helping and love, which they seem to have, started from Mumbai, from the Tiger Triumph showroom guy, whatever mechanic, who actually put his hand up and said, "Look, I'll give you this. Somebody will understand what to do with it."
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
I had a Russian biker took out his inner of the tire, tube. And he gave it to me. I didn't have a tube. I needed to change my outer and the inner. So there was no inner available there. So he said, Kapoor, take my inner. I said, what will you do? That's my problem.
Wow. And that is why we abstained from voting against Russia.
Yes,
last
correct.
month. It's because of these small acts of friendship that still carry on. All right, we're joking, but the book is called The Quest. Please check it out. Aditya Raj Kapoor's book. I wanted to show pictures, but my producer forgot to show them. But we will show them sooner or later. Quest. It's much more than just the bike and his journey. It's all about meeting people and the kind of experiences that you cannot make up. You have to actually go through them, and he has. Aditya, thank you so much, and we'd love to have you back on the show again to discuss more than bikes. I'm sure that it's going to be fun for any topic. So whenever you're free, please join us because we're desperate.
Thank you very much, Cyrus. Thank you. It's been a privilege. Thank you, Antariksh.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye, guys.